When working with business owners that are at their wits' end with the business side of their business, recognizing their need for some systems is the first step to not having their business run them. So they decide to go with a CRM, like Dubsado, to help get things organized. And that's when it hits the fan. Because in reality, they have no idea how to put their client experience into a step by step process that can be replicated over and over. They want to personalize, coddle, every client interaction from the first time they are contacted through the end of a project. Let me just put it out there. This is not a sustainable way to run your business. So, where do we go from here? During a VIP setup, I usually take several hours walking the client through their process, bringing them back to the reminder that automating your process is not a bad thing. And honestly, with all the personalization available, your clients are probably never going to realize that you didn't write that email specifically for them. But you're a DIYer, and so you probably don't have the funds to hire a specialist to help you through the process. So you're in the right place. Stick around, follow the simple process to get your client experience into a repeatable process and then an automated workflow so you can take back your time and in the end, make more money. So, how do you work through your client experience? It's just 3 simple steps. Step 1 is the brain dump. Start with your most common process or service and go from there. Write down everything that happens from your client contacting you to when you consider the project over. Write it all down. It doesn't have to be 100% in the correct order at this point. Start with what comes naturally and then go back over the next few days and add more details as you're able. Write it out in a notebook, Word doc, or some sort of tablet and leave a spot next to each item for some notations. Make sure that each item has a what and a when. Some of it you may not have set up that way, that's automated at this point, and that's okay, but we'll get there. Does that all make sense? It should all be written out like that. Go through and write on the line either E for email, S for scheduler, or F for form for how this is going to be communicated to the client. Even though all the items will technically be sent out in an email, if the email needs to include a scheduler link or some sort of form or PDF, just put S or F. Step 2 is the process. Once you have everything written down, transfer each item to its own post-it, or you can use a digital platform like Mural if your brain works better that way. I keep each category on its own color. Blue for email, pink for scheduler, green for forms. Here's what my post-its look like for this step and what Mural could look like for this step. Then I start putting it out all up on the wall, putting them up in the best order I can as I go. But the beauty is I can move the stuff around as I look at it more and more. Now, if your process is more than 10 to 15 steps, you need to break it up. Trust me, keeping your workflows under 15 steps will save your sanity down the road. So, the best cutoff for the beginning is when you consider the inquiry to be a client. Those first steps are going to be your inquiry workflow. Pro tip, make sure you leave room for or add in things like tags and status changes while still keeping it under 15 steps. As you're doing the steps, you may see how some of your steps in the process can be combined. So go ahead and combine them as you write them on the post-its. And I want you to leave this up for a couple days, looking it over and moving things around as needed until you have a streamlined process that you can replicate for every single client for this service. Every single client gets the same one for this service. Remember that every time you have to personalize something for a client, it slows the process and takes time away from what you're best at doing. Now that you have the process figured out, you can add the rest of the details to each post-it. Email, trigger, delay, things like that. Another pro tip, email formatting is a lifesaver. All right. Start with this workflow name, a number, and the action or a brief description. So, inquiry, 01, Send Consult Scheduler. They'll all stay together. So everything for an inquiry will be together and automatically be sorted in order. So inquiry 01, inquiry 02. Get it? Step 3 is putting it all together. Now you can actually get into Dubsado and start putting it all together. First, you have to create all of your content. Get your emails written, your forms and contracts created, and your schedulers all figured out. And now the content. Start by writing all of your emails using the naming formula I mentioned before. Remember to use smart fields to fill in information like the client's name, appointment times, and when you're sending a form in an email. Make sure you've created an email signature to add to the end of every email. And check out the Edit Templates dropdown in the canned email section. You want to modify those system emails to match your brand voice. Next, create all of your forms. These include your contracts, lead captures, questionnaires, etc. Another tip, don't send pricing sheets or styling guides or anything like that as a PDF or a form in Dubsado. Make them a hidden page on your website and put the link to that in your emails. That way, when you need to make changes, you only have to edit the website and not remember all the emails that have that information. Also, a lot of people don't like to send quotes or proposals because that's not how they've done it in the past. Well, we aren't in the past anymore, and quotes can be used for more than just a price for a service. You can include all kinds of great and helpful information, what the whole experience with you will look like, a timeline of what to expect, lots of possibilities. But they allow you to send your contract and agreement in a way that they have to sign it before they can pay you for your services. So everyone's on the same page. Next, you want to make all your schedulers. Remember to name them something that would be helpful for you and your clients. This is what they're going to see on their calendar also. Another pro tip, don't include the reschedule appointment option in your final reminder email. You don't want people to easily be able to cancel on you at the last minute. But do include the add calendar link in all the scheduler emails and point it out in the email so they remember to add it. Now create all of your tags and statuses to help keep things organized and searchable. You can do all kinds of filtering and create reports based on your tags and statuses. And now to testing, which is the necessary evil. You need to test your process before you actually create your workflow. I know this is not the fun part of the process, but it's critically important and it's going to save you a ton of stress down the road. So how do you test outside of a workflow? It's very simple. Fill out your lead capture form as a guest. Use a personal email or any email that you have access to that's not connected to your Dubsado account. Then just manually send each piece of information and manually add the tags, change statuses, etc. You can even book the appointment so you can be sure you like how your reminders go out. I just edit the scheduler to allow the appointments to be booked as soon as possible. Keep the process moving along. Just follow your post-its one by one as you go through the workflow until you get to the end. Take notes and make changes to anything you see that needs to be adjusted. Now we're on to the fun part. All right, maybe none of this is fun for you, but it's where it all comes together. Now is where you put all your work into action by creating your workflows in Dubsado. Open the templates dropdown, choose workflows, and click Add Workflow on the top right. Give your workflow a name, inquiry, headshots, post, shoot, whatever, and then add an action. Remember that each action must have an action, send email, send form, etc., and a when. Click Apply for each action as you have everything filled out. Any forms attached, wait times, etc. Start with the first item and work your way through your post-its. You can always create content that you missed, and you can drag and drop items if you need to rearrange them. Once it's all loaded, it's time to test again. Testing, testing, testing is the key to the success. I always test it myself with my personal email, and then I usually ask a friend to test it so they can give me their feedback. And that's a wrap. Your Dubsado workflow should be ready to use with live customers. I hope this has been helpful for you and you're able to streamline your processes with this tool. The journey to mastering your workflows is not just about organization, it's about reclaiming your time and enhancing the client experience. By breaking down your processes into manageable steps, you arm yourself with the tools to automate and streamline your operations. As you dive into these steps, remember that the aim is to create a repeatable and automated workflow that serves your business and your clients seamlessly. To make this journey even easier, I've prepared a handy checklist in a PDF for you. This guide will not only help you through the process today, but it will serve as a valuable resource for all your future workflows. Click the link below to get your copy, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights and tips that will support your business.